Okay, now what we want to end up with is a little bit more on the composite using some filters. So I've gone into basically created a stars layer, get some stars up here in the background, and then some cloud effect here, and then I've adjusted the opacity of the moon just to give us a little simple composite to get started inside of Photoshop. So, okay, basically what I had to before we got to this point, I had a black background. So I'm going to go ahead and add an additional basically black layer. So I'm going to go here, and this will be my stars layer. So I'm going to add that as stars. And I'll just go to Edit, Fill, and fill this in with a black color. And now essentially I'm going to create my stars. So I'm going to go to Filter and go down to Noise and add noise. And what I want to do is basically make this Gaussian distribution and monochromatic. And I'll give myself, I don't want to give myself too much of an amount, but just a little bit like so, about, let's say I go with about 20% there. And now I'm going to adjust my levels. So I'm going to increase the density of these stars a little bit. So I'll press Control L for that, for levels adjustment. And basically I'm going to delete or decrease my black points that I have, and to basically just create a little bit less stars there. As I bring up my white points, I have a few more stars to create, but I want to have a nice simple medium there between. So I'm going to go ahead and punch that up just a little bit so you get a few more stars in that. So now basically I have my stars layer there, so I have some stars in the background. And very lastly, I'm going to create my my clouds. So I'm going to go ahead and create an additional layer here and just label this cloud layer. And I'll do the same, go to Edit, Fill, and fill that in with black. And in this case, I want to make sure that my foreground and my background are black and white, so I press D for that. And that will basically turn it into a black and white for foreground and background color. And I'm going to use one last filter here. I'll go to Filter and Clouds, and essentially that puts a clouds filter on this black background, and I'll press Control F to basically reapply that filter, so I can cycle through it a couple of times to get me something that I want. So something like this, and then essentially I'm going to go to Control L once again, and I'm going to basically do the same, increase the intensity there a little bit of the clouds, and a little bit less clouds like so, and pot that down just a little bit, click OK, and essentially now I have my clouds layer. So I'm going to go up here to the opacity of the layers palette and just drag that down just a little bit, so I've got basically just a hint of clouds. And then for my stars layers, I'm going to keep that the same, but I am going to go up to my moon. Originally it was set to 100%. I'm going to decrease that percentage down just a little bit so it's not as dramatic effect like so. And then I can also take my my burn tool inside of Photoshop and adjust things on my city layer. I can kind of darken that out a little bit. So I can do another pass there, kind of make that a little bit darker. And I can do the same for a moon. I can do a little pass there, kind of burn that a little bit. And you know, I can burn the clouds in if I need to darken those a little bit. And then I can just tweak the opacity of those clouds just a little bit. See my stars come through just a hint. And I have a nice simple composite there for Photoshop for us to get started.